Hey everyone, Rob from Southgate Media Group here. Before we get started with this podcast, we have a quick message. If this is your first time checking out the show, we love that you found us and we really hope you enjoy it. What we have to say is for the subscribers. If you enjoy our shows, would you please donate to help keep these going? We don't want to have to put traditional ads on these shows, but this does cost money. So we really do rely heavily on donations. To make a donation to the show, please go to our website, www.southgatemediagroup.com. Go to the page for the show, and in the upper right-hand corner is a donate button. It takes you right to PayPal, and you can donate whatever amount you want. Thanks a lot for listening, everybody. And now, on with the show. Welcome to the Nuff Said podcast. We are talking Season 1 of Agent Carter, Episode 7, Snafu. I am one of your hosts. I am Rotund Rob Southgate. With me is...
Jubilant Jack Windgroski.
And...
Apocalyptic Alil.
Wow.
I don't know why.
You barely got that one out, too. What, do they have to have a meaning? I mean, rotund. I'm not really rotund.
Well... I'm not going there.
All I'm saying is it's a good thing this isn't on video.
Yeah, right.
We would have one viewer.
Well, let's just say...
I don't know who that one viewer would be, but...
Well, let's just say you're less rotund. You're less rotund than you used to be.
Yes. See, I'm giving myself a little credit.
There you go. Good job. Not me. I'm extra rotund, but it doesn't start with an A, so...
I lost 75 pounds. Apparently, a Lil picked it up.
I did, and then some.
Hey, can I have that? Are you going to eat that fat? Yeah, Lil, go ahead.
I collect everything.
You collect everything.
I'd like seconds on that fat back, please.
Got plenty for you. Here you go.
So, are we doing anything about a show today?
Or? I don't know. I really want to talk about this one. Okay, I did a podcast earlier today, and it was about the penultimate episode of Constantine. Oh. And we got into a discussion about penultimate episodes and what the expectations are and how, a lot of times we don't get those expectations fulfilled. And Constantine definitely did not do everything it should have for that. In this case, once again, here we are later in the day. I'm doing a penultimate episode of Agent Carter because there's only one more. And I thought this delivered on everything. What did you guys think?
Oh, I completely agree. They gave Peggy complete credit for everything that she did. There's definitely a respect for her now. The action was great. The intrigue, the spy game, all the stuff that they did with the hypnotist doctor and his background. And I can't wait for next week because it set up everything great.
Yeah.
I don't know how they're gonna end this. I'm so. I feel like everything I thought is wrong. Did she not take the blood? Why did I think she took the blood when they kissed, Dottie and Peggy?
She didn't know she had it, and the people that, right after she did the kiss...
is when they came in. And remember, they grabbed the blood at that point. They were like, oh, what's this?
For some odd reason, my head, I don't know, maybe I imagined it, that she swapped the blood out.
No, you imagine that.
Yeah. And then, because then I was watching this, and I'm like, well, this is going to have nothing to do with the blood. I've been wrong all season. So,
I'll tell you what.
Nothing new.
I was right. Who died tonight?
You were completely right. The chief...
I called it, and...
got completely blown up.
No.
I mean, not maybe just like Lucy Lawless, he's coming back. No, he jumped out of a window and exploded so that the rest of the agents wouldn't die. Yeah. There's no way on God's green earth that the Chief is coming back.
Nope, Chief is gone.
Well, unless he's the Human Torch, the Android version.
Did you guys think that at one point when that suit was on? I was like, is somebody going to turn into Human Torch on this? And I'm like, no. They showed that in Captain America. It was a subtle thing, but it was there. There's no way they're going to do anything with that.
It's a shame because the Chief was about to he was about to get things back with his family, his hypnotic suggestion, even had him home. Everything was good. Next
but
thing
was
you
he
know,
really getting back with his family? That was all in his mind.
no. Well, the call was he had made the first step. He had called his wife, said, "Hey, can I come home for dinner? I just want to talk," and she was completely into it.
Oh, okay. I didn't
And
really
and then the
pay
doctor
attention to that.
the doctor said, am I doing good? He says, "Oh man, that's a great first step." And then he gets him. They get a bead on the doc because Peggy saw the doctor doing the Morse code to Dottie,
Right.
and so the doc, had to pull a eliminate fast one. So that's when the chief, in his mind, actually goes home. He's gone there early. Actually, what I thought was he was going to go home wearing the vest, and he was going to blow up his family, and Peggy and gang were going to come and rescue them.
Yeah.
But it didn't go like that at all.
Okay, I got more. And I want to ask what you guys think of this, and you're going to tell me I'm wrong, but watch me be right at some point. The guy with the leg, the agent with the leg, with the thing, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Why did they show the guy at the beginning get his leg amputated? I think this guy is going to end up being a sleeper cell. I think he's had facial reconstruction just like they've done to others in the past. And I think that we're going to find out, maybe not even this season, he is going to be a sleeper cell within this organization, which is why we don't see him in that short, that Peggy Carter short. Because now that the chief is gone, we're careening towards that short. New guys in that office. People blowed up real good. Those original guys, there's only a few of them left.
Right.
Why aren't they in that short? And I know that short is canon. I have a feeling that one-legged guy, in the beginning of the season, we said, well, maybe he's the one that Peggy Carter falls in love with and everything. I think not. I think he's the guy we saw get his leg amputated. And Dr. Ivchenko, that's his name, something like that, did it. And I'll tell you what, Dr. Ivchenko, I was looking up guys that had this ability. I think he is Dr. Faustus. You know who Dr. Faustus is?
I do not.
He was a old Captain America villain. And he was a psychiatrist that manipulated victims and changed how they viewed things and got them to kill themselves and all that stuff. And I'm like, wait a minute. When I started reading about it, I'm like, I wonder if either they've repurposed the name or if this guy is who we think he is, and later on he becomes Dr. Faustus. Like, we didn't hear his name when he was in Russia, did we?
No, not that I can recall.
I don't recall them.
But again,
calling
I've
him
been
Dr.
making up things
Ivchenko
this whole season, so I don't know.
So I'm wondering if he is Dr. Faustus, but here when he was, when he gave himself up to help ISIS or whatever it is, SSR.
ISIS.
If he gave, do you want ants? Because this is how you get ants. If he gave himself as Dr. Ivchenko to them, but in reality, in that flashback, we were actually seeing him as himself, which is Dr. Faustus. I wonder if that's what we're going to find out.
I'm still hard-pressed to believe if that's the same person with the leg. Because they were amputating his leg. They weren't...
But do we know this guy's leg is amputated?
It appears as it's gimped up. I mean, if it was amputated, I don't think you would need the... guys with prosthetic limbs, a lot of times actually don't need the cane. It's actually guys that
but doesn't it serve their purpose better to have him have that cane, have him appear to be weak, have him appear to be gimpy, when in fact he is a trained Russian agent? But he could be a sleeper cell. He could be a Manchurian candidate. He has no idea that that's what's going on, which is why he seems like a good guy.
I don't know.
Which is also why, wait a minute, why Dottie didn't kill him in that hallway. He had his gun on her. She did not kill him. Yes, you could say, well, he fought her and he got away. Give me a break. That first Russian guy or German guy had a gun pointed at her face. She jumped up the wall and broke his neck. Why didn't she kill him?
And yet it was that kind of weird smile that she gave. I think it might be something to do with Winter Soldier.
Well, I thought so too. That beginning part, I was thinking they're going to do something to him, which is how they reconstructed Bucky to become the Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
And they used mind control on him, and they did all that. Why couldn't this guy be one of those experiments?
It could be, but I just don't think he's the. I think he's too rooted. He's got too much American history to be a Russian plant.
Have we seen that American history? You watch the show The Americans?
Yeah, but
I mean, they live there. They never can speak Russian. But if they've implanted so much in his brain, they've given him so much backstory, we're just hearing him tell it, and he believes it fully. So why wouldn't we?
I'm going to agree with you in concept, but not the Russian connection. I think you're right that they're going to do something special with him, and use the mind control, and maybe he does
with this guy.
But I don't see the connection just because it was too much in the past. Where the doctor's getting his newfound skills. You've got this guy. Everybody had seen that. What's his name? Soupy Sales, or I can't remember.
Soupy Sales. Wait, what are you talking about?
The guy with the crutch in the SSR. Is that the guy you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like Agent Susie or something like that.
Right.
And but
Soupy
they know
Sales. Who makes a Soupy Sales reference? Do you even know who Soupy Sales is?
No.
Jack, do you remember when they relaunched that show? Because I knew about it from before, but I had never seen it because it wasn't on when we were kids. But then they relaunched it. Did you watch it when it was relaunched?
Oh, all the time.
So did I. It was awesome.
It was a great show.
White Fang and Blacktooth. Remember his? Okay.
Oh my God.
There were two characters. They were supposed to be like his dogs, and it was literally just like a furry arm that somebody did like a puppet. They'd stick the hand out and be like, and he'd be like, "No, White Fang, no." Soupy Sales was great.
So back to
confused. I have no idea what's going on.
Why?
Aren't you a Lil?
Now you know where you're getting these migraines from. You're getting them from Rob and I.
Yeah, right.
They're hurting your brain.
Oh man!
You need to look up
the
Soupy Sales on
comedy.
YouTube. Yeah, right.
Bipolar comedy of Southgate and Wingrosky.
Yeah, it's the world's worst comedy duo.
But back to our American SSR agent. He's out in the field. He's got all his faculties. He's shooting up. He's shooting up the enemy. He gets hit. He goes down. Whereas you have the Russian that has lost his leg, and there would be a timeline problem with those two storylines. However, I think the Russian. I think that just set up the doctor's skills.
Right.
I think it's a side story.
Well, I thought that too, but when I was watching this guy, all of a sudden I had this thought, and then I went back and I watched it again, and I'm like, it's the same freaking leg, and it all makes sense.
All connected.
It's possible. Connected. It's possible. When I saw that goofy smile on Dottie, it was really pretty random.
Why didn't she kill him?
And why, when she saw him, she had that big toothy grin and just made me shudder. It was like, wow, this girl is just super freaky.
Yeah.
I mean, it could have been just simply, this cripple's going to try to take me out kind of thing.
This cripple's going to take me out.
Boy, that's not.
I'm not saying it meanly, but
wow, a little way to turn on that part of the audience. I mean, jeez.
Hey, I have a lot of people with disabilities in my family, so
yeah, but we don't make fun of them,
right?
I'm not making fun of anybody.
Oh, a little.
I'm just saying that's maybe what she thought. Like, this guy who can't walk
is going to try it.
Is going to try to take me out. I'm a widow.
You know what, Jack? I think my favorite thing of the whole night is watching a Lil squirm for no reason. I mean, really, you just kind of made my day, a Lil.
I have a migraine. Okay.
Well,
yes, you do. You know what? We should be nicer to a Lil. Hey, if you guys look at your Facebook page right now, and I'm going to put this on the website too, and people that aren't listening are not going to have any idea what this is. But I found an album cover for Soupy Sales.
Oh yeah,
and I'm going to put it on there. I'm going to put it on our Facebook page, but I just sent it to you guys. And if you can look at it, if you look at it,
that guy wearing it around his neck. What is that?
Do you see the thing reaching to him?
Yeah.
That's one of his. That's Blacktooth, and White Fang is in the other corner. See the upper left hand or upper right hand corner? That's White Fang, and there's Blacktooth.
That creeps me out.
And
did you put that on the SMG page, or did you
I
just
just
link
put
it
it
to
on Enough
mine?
Said. No, I put it on Enough Said.
Oh, okay.
So people will look at Enough Said and be like, what? What? Until they hear this, and then they'll go, what?
Yeah, exactly.
It's awesome.
Like 90% of our listeners just discovered a new show.
Soupy Sales.
Soupy Sales.
That's the 60th podcast at Southgate Media Group.
Oh, I wish. He's dead. So I'm going to pour some out for my homie. That's a Soupy Sales joke. The chick gets...
That's the sad part.
I know.
I used to do that stuff. Oh, yeah, there it is. I see it. I used to do that stuff, like one for my homie when I was younger.
Yeah.
You spill like a little bit of your drink, for your homie.
Really?
What homies did you have?
Where?
It might have been Mountain Dew, okay?
Yeah,
I'm not talking, I wasn't like 12 years old, carrying around vodka and stuff.
But you weren't like exactly Boys in the Hood.
I don't know where this episode has gone.
We were talking about it's a TV show.
Yeah, okay. Where were we? What were we talking about?
We were talking about Dottie and the one-legged guy who I don't think is one-legged.
I'll tell you what, I think the one-legged guy, yes, I think he killed Dr. Richards' wife. And no, wait, now you got me confused again. No, I think he didn't, when I went back and looked at him, he did not look like the same guy. But why couldn't they have rebuilt his face when they did that stuff? And I mean, they had rooted that memory so deep in that guy. Why couldn't they give him a false memory and make him into this agent that's so deeply infused in SSR? Why not?
It could possibly go. I'm not going that direction, but in the world of Marvel, it could happen.
It could, but my concern is this show is done after the next episode. So
but a little. It's tied into the Marvel Universe. Is it done? Even if they don't do a second season, which I have a feeling they will because it's gotten great reviews. It didn't have great watching, but it had great reviews. And I think this one, when it hits Netflix and video, it's going to be huge. I think this is going to do great in Netflix binge watching.
Yeah.
And I think that there's a real good chance we're going to see a second season. But even if we don't, they can plant those seeds. They can put things in there, even that they don't give us in the next episode, that we find out later through other stories, because there's lots of stuff. And there was one announced today. I mean, talk about another offshoot. Did you read that the other show that is that they're doing?
Yeah, what I briefly saw this. What station is this going on? What is
it's going on the Southgate Media Group. And no, I have no idea. I'm reading it real quick right now. It just says it's headed for the small screen. It doesn't say where, but it's Dreadstar. Which, did you ever read Dreadstar?
I did not.
No.
Okay.
I know the character, but
Dreadstar is not necessarily part of this. I mean, he is. He is. And this character could end up crossing over into like Guardians or any of their space type stuff. It could. But this character, this Dreadstar storyline, I read a couple of the graphics on this thing. I loved them. It is one of the coolest science fiction titles ever done. In fact, it's kind of what got me to go back and look at my Guardians comics before they were even going to do a Guardians movie. Because I was like, man, this is awesome. Oh, I wonder if this ties in. It's really fantastic, cool stuff.
Cool.
So I don't know where it's going to be, but I'm so excited.
I wonder if they're going to, if it does, and I think it's doing well. I think the numbers are good, and a couple of the little websites, it's gotten a little like, they put a little hot next to it. So when I was trying to, I was trying to see a replay, and it's like, well, that's good news. So people are paying attention. So it could be the kind of thing where they plug, some stuff in summers or the mid-season break, next year, and say, hey, we're going to give you a little of this here and there.
Right.
And,
why not? Why not?
And, they have this arc planned out for so long that I think they're invested in actually doing connective timelines so that, you're going to see things that are established here will pop up in Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., will pop up in maybe Age of Ultron somehow is like a little snippet of weird history, and you go, wow, that was pretty random. Oh, wait, it wasn't, because if you go back to Agent Carter in 1945, this is something that set it up.
Right.
And if you're not paying attention, you don't think anything about it, although,
Well, and you may not even notice it until years from now when when you go back and you rewatch this. You're like, oh my gosh, they laid this in there back then.
And, they're going to say, Rob was right.
That was one.
And Lil was wrong.
And man, were they mean to Lil, making him get all squirmy.
Actually, we hit a lot of from last episode. A lot of good hits.
Yeah, I don't know what's up with that. We gotta like relax on our game a little bit. We gotta go back to being wrong.
I know, we gotta start sucking, because if we keep nailing everything, there's gonna be an expectation, and we're gonna have to have to start watching the episode and knowing backstories and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, no, I'm sure Catwoman's gonna be in the next episode. Let's go with that.
Oh, thank God. I was starting to worry.
Yeah.
I hope you're right about that one.
Okay, where did we leave off? I am so lost.
We were talking about Scarlett Johansson. I just want to put that out there.
Yes. So, okay, I want to talk about a couple of things. Let's talk about a couple of highlights. First of all, Dottie jumping down the stairwell.
That was crazy.
That was awesome. That was awesome. And there was another case. The guy had a gun right on her, and next thing you see, he's like dead in the corner. So that's why I say it's suspicious.
I like it when Agent Soupy Sales, like, he gets on his walkie-talkie, and he's like, she's headed down the stairs really fast.
Right.
That was way awesome. Dottie is like bad to the bone.
Yeah, I want more Dottie, and that's just it. This show can't end after one season because, like if they wrap it all up next episode, Dottie gets killed, and no, that's not going to be any fun.
Speaking of fun, how many times did it take Jarvis to help Peggy throw that table through the window?
And then nothing was there. My favorite thing was after they did it, I was sitting there watching it with my niece, and I said, well, they're still attached to the table. What happens after 3 attempts? Great. We're still attached to the table. Now, she told me that guy, that agent, that remember we thought he was suspicious in the beginning, but I think he's turned out to be a good guy, which is why I think the Legolas guy is an issue. Legolas.
Legolas.
Orlando Bloom.
Yeah, I didn't know he was in this. Awesome. No, that guy was from One Tree Hill. Did you know that?
Yeah, I said his real name when we first started recording this. Yeah.
I don't pay attention. I don't know what that show even is. I just know it's a show.
It was a very popular CW show. He was a teen heartthrob. Okay. And that's why I was shocked to see him on this, because I'm like, holy cow, you got old. Because he's looking a lot.
Poster? Hello?
Of course, I had his 12-month calendar. His December was very nice.
Didn't that show come on right after Joni Loves Chachi?
No, Soupy Sales did.
See, Soupy Sales was way before Joni Loves Chachi.
Yeah, really, man.
That was like before cable was cable.
Yeah. We only had 4 channels. That's why a guy with 2 dog puppet costumes got away with it.
At that time, cable was
Got away with what?
Cable was what
putting that crap on the air. It's like what we do. As long as there's no regulation, we keep pumping out podcasts.
There we go.
Once someone figures out how to regulate this, we're done.
That's what we used to call running cable.
They'll be like, remember that terrible show? Yep.
Yeah, that's when they let podcasts just on the air willy-nilly.
Right. Now we only have 4 channels. One of them is League of Geeks because they're good as opposed to this. I threw you a bone there, Lil.
Thank you.
Geeks with a Z.
That's right, because we're hip-hop.
Hey, I got a question for you about your show this week.
Okay.
Boy, we're going to get bad reviews on this week. I am telling you right now. They can't stay on topic. I got a question about League of Geeks. Did you hate Jupiter Ascending? I didn't make it to the end of your episode.
I didn't. Okay, I didn't necessarily hate it. It wasn't the worst thing I've ever seen, but you can tell that the studio chopped that movie up really well.
So do you think when we get a full version of the movie, there's a potential it could actually be good? Because I was chatting with somebody online who said they were actually surprised. They saw it and they thought it was actually, they were like they were filling in the gaps in their brain, and they were like, if they just filled these in, this is actually excellent.
If they fill the gaps in, yes. I think it could be good. I still think that there's issues with the storytelling per se.
Okay.
But again, I can't tell because the studio just chopped the daylights out of this movie. I mean, it just jumps. It's like cutscene, and let's just mend them all together.
Yeah.
But again, the special effects were crazy good.
All right, cool. Well, I'm gonna probably watch it when it hits cable, but I had this feeling before that it was gonna be like watching After Earth, and After Earth.
No.
That is so bad.
Yeah, no.
So bad.
It was better than After Earth. I mean, we all gave it a low sidekick, but I think, and that's our rating for like a middling movie. Okay. And I think that's because of that. I mean, I think if it told a better cohesive story, I think we would all give it better ratings.
All right, fair enough.
But Kingsman, a Marvel property or a part of the Marvel imprint,
yes,
such a good movie.
Yeah, Jack, you saw it too, right?
Which one was that? I was reading on. I was kind of trying to read up on some of the things we missed in the episode. Since we haven't been talking about that at all.
Oh, Kingsman.
Oh yeah, I really enjoyed it. I loved what's his name, Samuel Jackson. He does this horrible lisp because he's like the kingpin of this like giant internet thing, and he's decided to save the world his own way. And so he goes around talking like this because he's like a giant nerd. And it was just like everything was super campy and super funny. The only criticism I had about the whole thing was I would have liked to see more like actual training. You know, so this kid gets trained as a Kingsman agent. His dad had saved one of the agent's life, so they sponsor him, and he goes in, and they're always having to save their own lives to pass their crazy boot camp. And suddenly, when he's done with this boot camp, where all you see is like 3 or 4 or 5 attempts, and people die or people get washed out, and at the end he can do this crazy good fighting. And I thought, well, where did that come from? So it had some ups and downs, but I'll tell you, the orchestrated things at the end. I don't want to do any spoilers, but I will say the end was fantastic. I loved it.
Well, there was more than just that happened at the end that I could not believe was said and done. But yeah, it was a lot of fun, and I understand what you're saying. The problem is we would have to add another hour to the movie for them to go in depth on the training and how he was able to fight the way Colin Firth was able to fight.
Right. And actually, that, to tell the truth, if they had eliminated all that other crap, I would have been much more satisfied. You could have still had a lot of those crazy bits, and some of the things and some of the infrastructure where they convinced them of their way to the future was not believable in the least. So I would have cut out almost that entire movie, made it all about the training, saved the day, and called it done. But it's not my movie, and I enjoyed it. I wouldn't be buying the DVD anytime soon. I'll tell you that.
I will be.
Yeah,
I'm anxious to see it. I thought it looked cool.
Yeah, I recommend it. I had some, like I say, I had some things I would have liked to see a little more, but it was very enjoyable. And I love the fact that I sat my butt down in the chair while everybody got up and left, and they had like another whole scene in the credits. It's like, people, come on.
It's Marvel.
It's Marvel.
Okay, back to the show, because we have really gone off. So I mentioned Dottie jumping down the well. Were there any scenes that stood out to you guys?
Oh, well, we were talking, like, one of the things we haven't talked about was item 17, and why do they think item 17 out of all that stuff seems so freaking special?
Yeah, so Alil, this is where you were wrong. You said the MacGuffin was the blood, but it wasn't.
Which kills me because...
But it was part of it, because it was a huge piece of the puzzle. It was the MacGuffin that drove us there.
Right. It was the MacGuffin for Peggy.
Yes.
I think, to get Peggy kind of full circle, like back to the meat of where she needs to be. But I'm still shocked that it's this one item that I don't think we've been introduced to.
No,
that we're not going to know about.
We were tonight.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But we are the night before the show season ends. You know what I mean? It's like there's one more episode. Usually, you get your MacGuffin or you get the lead up to that. There's something that's going on.
Well, but the chase,
which was, I guess, a good change, because we all thought it was the blood. We all thought it's Cap's blood. They want to do this to Winter Soldier this time,
right.
this, and there's something else there that they really want, and that's kind of cool.
No, I pretty much remember saying I'm pretty sure it's item 17.
Okay. I'll give it to you.
You did. It was off air, but you did.
I feel like saying at that point, yeah, that's what I said. Yeah, that's the ticket.
Lil doesn't remember that either. He's too young.
Yeah.
No. Well, look up SNL. That's the ticket.
No, don't. Did you guys watch that 40th special?
No, I haven't. I've taped it, but
don't. It's terrible.
Was it?
Really?
Oh my gosh, it's terrible.
So before we go on,
Jim Belushi plays one of the Blues Brothers in it, by the way, which is just god awful.
Oh, anybody that's tried to do that, even kind of Aykroyd doesn't do it well anymore.
No, he's kind of smirking through it, and they don't know the words to the song, and it's just like,
yeah.
It's like watching Sinatra's last concert when he can't remember the words.
Yeah.
Terrible.
So,
anyway.
One of the things that I did like the scene where the couple's kind of pissing and moaning about the parking, and they're getting back to the theater. And the only reason that this couple is still alive is because they were late. The gas makes everybody kill each other. What was the one, did you have a thought when everything was said and done, when they opened the door?
Well, yeah, my one thought was, how come there's not one person standing?
Thank you very much.
Everybody's dead?
Yeah. So what did
the last person had to bleed out, but,
Yeah. No,
this ties into what do... I'm sorry, Jack. Go ahead.
Oh, no. I was just trying to finish it up. I wanted to find out who was the survival of the fittest.
Yeah.
You know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of the story.
It reminds you of what?
Story?
Of the story that they talked about in Russia when everybody was dead.
That's, Fennell.
Yeah.
Why didn't I make the Fennell connection? I was so worried. I was so worried. That's what it exactly is. Good for you, Lil. I was so focused on the fact, why is it there one person left? I didn't even think of Fennell.
Yeah, there must be something with this gas that maybe not only that they're killing everybody else, but they end up killing themselves if there's nobody else left to kill. They just go psychotic.
Right.
And maybe that's where that tie-in goes to Fennell that we brought up, that maybe this was the gas that was used, and that's why Stark went off on the army, because this gas was used in that battle or something.
Yeah.
Right.
Interesting.
Makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
See,
okay.
Now that's why we have a Lil.
Let's talk. Oh, there's so many reasons we have a Lil. All right. Let's talk Leviathan. They were like, Leviathan happens in 20 minutes. Okay. All we saw was the Doctor and Dottie. That sounds like a sitcom, Doctor and Dottie, with Soupy Sales. But all we saw was Doctor and Dottie. We still have not seen Leviathan. Leviathan is in the shadows. Now, I was reading about next week. No spoilers. But it was just it was an interview with one of the showrunners, and they said, we are trying to check off every box. So all these questions you've had all season should be answered, and then there's a big Marvel Easter egg at the end. So are we going to find out what Leviathan is? Or is it just going to be, I don't know, because two people do not make a major criminal organization.
Right. I think this has got to be some kind of connection to Hydra.
I don't. I think they're separate from Hydra.
You think Leviathan is it's either a precursor, or it can't be a precursor, can it?
No, because Hydra was there before.
Right.
Yes, but Hydra's gone now. At this point, they think that Hydra's done.
Right.
And I'm thinking that Leviathan knows that Hydra's still alive, but that's why they're calling themselves Leviathan, instead of Hydra.
Yeah, but that's cheap because they would be able to figure out pretty quickly, like, okay, wait a minute, you guys are really Hydra. I think Leviathan is a different organization because in the comics they are a different organization. They're just like not out in the open, and they are a Russian organization. I don't think they're Hydra. They may have ties to Hydra, but they are not Hydra. And I think they're going to make more of this group since they can't really use Hydra in the Peggy Carter series because they go dormant until Cap 2.
Yeah.
I think Leviathan will be the big baddie that she's got to contend with, that her team will have to contend with. And I also think that I'm hoping that second season is going to be where she is going to get the reins, hopefully second season, of S.H.I.E.L.D. And we're going to get to see that the beginnings of S.H.I.E.L.D. And S.H.I.E.L.D. is formed to deal with this Leviathan problem. That's what I think.
Well, I'm looking at Marvel Database, and it talks about Leviathan. And Leviathan was formed by Vasily Dasiev and Viktor Uvarov, former members of the KGB for the Soviet Union, a decade after World War II.
But this isn't a decade after, though, is it?
No. Well, everybody's, this is World War II. Everybody's back home.
Right. But it's not a decade later, is it?
Well, I mean, you could say it's within... No, I don't think it's a decade later, but you could say it's in the year, within a few years after.
Yeah, so maybe they're playing fast and loose with that. They're not saying a decade, maybe 5 years after World War II or something like that.
But they're saying the Great Wheel was... let's see, John Garrett, Thomas Davidson, Soma, Van Lutz, Baron Strucker, Dum Dum Dugan, Nick Fury, Jake Fury, Daniel Whitehall were called by Leonardo da Vinci, alias Ares, to form the Great Wheel of Zodiac. Each member was assigned a code name, and from there, the broken Great Wheel led to the creation of S.H.I.E.L.D., Hydra, Zodiac, Cartel, and Leviathan.
Oh.
Vasily submitted to Victor's leadership, and together they used their combined resources to form the Leviathan organization. Vasily underwent the process, became Mageddon, and Victor became Orion. But their installation was attacked by Hydra.
I feel like we're doing a podcast with Charlie.
I know, except he's got all this stuff by memory.
It's all in his head, right?
Yeah. He just says, accessing file.
and Jack and I are off talking about soupy sales.
Yes.
Now you know the difference.
And Lil is playing with a toy right now.
We won't say what toy.
I actually am. I'm holding a Brack toy right now. And looking at a Silver Surfer thinking, maybe I should hold the Silver Surfer. I'm not sure.
Let's see. So, yeah, there's an early example of Leviathan and Hydra kind of butting heads. So
yeah, I'm reading that as well.
They're kind of related parallel organizations.
So, Lil, I think you're wrong about them being the kind of the lead-in, but I do think you're right that they are filling a gap left by Hydra.
Exactly, because I guess my questioning would be the fact that we've gone through, a dozen Marvel MCU movies and we haven't heard them involved. So that's why I think that there's something here in that has to maybe tie them and incorporate them. Maybe Marvel, the MCU is taking names from the 616, kind of like they've done with a lot of the characters. Because I mean, you even said in this that John Garrett was part of that. Well, we've seen Garrett already in S.H.I.E.L.D. and Fury and all these. So it could take the name and some of the main players into it. And the thing that caught me when you were reading that, Jack, was Zodiac. There's a villain, right? That's Zodiac?
Yeah, there is.
That wasn't it like Nick Fury's brother?
Yes. I don't know very much about him, but yes, it's his brother, right?
I thought it was because my only reason I remember that is because he was in an episode of the Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon.
So here's where it talks about, I think, why we have Leviathan back at this point is that Leviathan's all been wiped out by Nick Fury.
Okay.
There was a massive three-sided war between Hydra, Leviathan, and Fury, and the Halloween Commandos. Each side suffering substantial losses. Howling Commandos all but wiped out. Hydra and Leviathan substantially reduced. With the few remaining agents, Fury remotely taps into the activation system that brings Leviathan soldiers out of hibernation, feeding them so much energy that they would only have a short lifespan. And so only one agent remained. So they're playing with, the Marvel kind of MCU. Leviathan kind of, is still activated, but by the time you get to Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., there's only, Orion was the only guy that survived.
Hey, Lil, I just figured it out. It's Nick Fury's brother was Scorpio, and he put together a criminal group called Zodiac.
Right.
That's what it was. That was made up of life model decoys. So interesting.
Yeah. Well, it's really cool that they did that. Instead of trying to tie anything with Hydra, they totally took an old side story and resurrected it.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Very cool.
What did we miss here? I'm sure we missed a lot. So Dooley is dead, and
he was a blast.
Now you're starting to warm up a little.
Oh man,
it just gets worse and worse.
It does. Let's see. Jarvis and Peggy are working together again. It seems like they've buried the hatchet here, or the table into the mirror.
Boo.
Yeah, boo. It's getting worse. Howard has not resurfaced. Howard has got to be in the next episode.
I think he is. Did they show him?
I don't recall. Because they were showing some clips that were from past episodes in there, too, so I don't know what was new and what wasn't.
Remember, I'm just making up storylines. So.
Right. Well, and for next Tuesday, they show Peggy and Howard talking.
Okay,
her
so he is
up.
back in.
She's got a shotgun on Dottie. There's a little fighting going on.
Okay, that's what I'm waiting for. No way are we getting through this next episode without the Dottie Peggy showdown.
Yeah, it's coming. And
it's not going to end in a little kiss. I'll tell you that.
Wow. I'm still thinking about that kiss.
Yeah, I'm sure you are.
She just says, "You're wearing my brand."
Right.
It's like, is that what you're thinking? Because I'm thinking something totally different. Yeah. I'm just trying to think, when are they going to get Scarlett Johansson in on this? That's what I'm thinking.
Oh, my.
History's going to go down where Jack was just a lech.
Yeah. And you'll just say, well, that's Dr. Wodgrowski to you.
That's right. Is that Freudian?
Yeah, right.
So the last thing that they show is Howard is in a press conference and there's some sort of attack and everybody kind of skedaddles. So I think we're going to see Howard Stark kind of come back into the good spirits again.
Well, he has to. He has to. Because if you think about that short, when he called Peggy in for S.H.I.E.L.D., he's no longer on the run. He's got Dum Dum Dugan there at his side. He calls up, basically tells the head of the SSR something, puts Peggy on the phone, and Peggy's like, guess what? I'm your boss now. This is now S.H.I.E.L.D.
Ah.
Were they S.H.I.E.L.D. in that short?
No, they were still the SSR.
They were SSR in that
I thought
short.
they were still SSR.
We may have to... We may have to do some research.
Yeah, because I can't remember if he said, I'm forming a S.H.I.E.L.D. and I want you to be in charge, or if he said, you're the new head of S.H.I.E.L.D., and that was it, making her Bradley Whitford's boss.
That's kind of what I thought in the short that it was. I got the feeling that this was like a new thing, and now she was the head of it. Not that it had already existed or something. I don't know.
And I wonder if S.H.I.E.L.D. rises because Leviathan is a different type of organization. The SSR simply can't work against it. You know, kind of like FBI, CIA, how they grew and have different purposes. I wonder if S.H.I.E.L.D. grows out of that and makes the SSR obsolete at some point. So you've still got FBI, CIA, and then you've got S.H.I.E.L.D. as this rogue dealing with these bigger global type issues, which Leviathan would be.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think it's just a nice way to get away from Hydra a little bit, introduce some new characters, but there could be more to it.
Yeah.
I don't know. But that's other than the fact the guy I've been calling Soupy Sales, I actually found his name is Souza.
Soupy Sales. So, Alil, in your headache pain, have you got anything more you want to talk about here?
No, I am curious to how this is going to tie in. I mean, I think you're right when you say that, you know, no matter what happens, that they've planted seeds that they can explore down the road. But this show needs to come back.
It does. It absolutely does.
It needs
if not
to come back.
here, it needs to come back to Netflix. Netflix already has a deal with them, though. So I think it would make sense. They've got a good enough world they're building here, and it's an interesting time frame to be working with. They've got the sets. They've got the people in place. If it doesn't come back to ABC, which I imagine it will, it would be a natural for Netflix to say, let's do they're getting in the movie business. Let's do a Peggy Carter movie. Let's do a Peggy Carter movie every 5 years or every 3 years and do it just as a Netflix exclusive. I'd be down with that too. But I like this format. I like the 8-episode format.
I don't know. I feel like I'm just getting the momentum. I feel like after 8 episodes, I was finally starting to enjoy Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. fully. And, you know, I kept expecting this takeoff, and, you know, then it finally did. And now, you know, I feel like I'm waiting, you know, way too long for it to kind of get back its momentum. And so now I'm really into this 8 episodes. Man, it was great. I didn't have to wait for the takeoff, and now, you know, God knows when it's going to come back.
Right. Well, I think that they're going to learn something. I'm hoping they learn something from this. It's something I said about the structure of S.H.I.E.L.D. You know, if they took the S.H.I.E.L.D. season and they made the first half one defined story, the second half one defined story of each season, it would make it so fresh. It wouldn't feel like you're dragging it out. And then you're talking, you know, 11, 12 episodes of a storyline, just like this 8 episodes. I think it's a lot tighter, and I think it could be a lot more interesting that way. And they can also go into weird areas. I mean, have you been looking at the casting, the things that they're bringing into S.H.I.E.L.D. in the second half? It's crazy. They've got some really cool stuff about to happen.
It's funny.
Hopefully capped off with the return of Lucy Lawless. I'm just saying.
Not gonna happen.
You watch. Did I not say mark my words about Spider-Man?
I agreed with you about Spider-Man.
Mark my words, I say.
I can say mark my words after everything I say.
I kind of do. And here we go. Mark my words. Lucy Lawless is not done on this show.
When she comes back, you're going to be hooting and hollering, ain't you?
Oh, it's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome. Mark my words.
Yeah. Yes.
He says after the awkward pause.
What, did you just speak, Jack?
Hey, that's my superhero character, the awkward pause.
The awkward pause. Yep.
It's a 3-legged dog, the awkward pause.
Are we done with this one? What was this episode?
I have no idea.
This was the bipolar Alil has a headache episode.
Yes.
Oh, man. And we still have not addressed any of the Spider-Man talk on Nuff Said. Is that incredible?
I know.
We're not going to talk about it. We're not going to talk about it today.
No, but it's coming up because they're going to be doing some good stuff with it. And then when we do talk about it, it'll be that much more special.
That's right. Mark my words.
Mark your words. Mark your words, sir, for they will be pathetic.
Right.
Pathetic?
Yes, yeah. I think that's what he meant. He has a lisp. Just like
Sam Jackson.
Just like Sam Jackson.
Well, what? Are we on first name basis with the man now?
Sam.
Okay. Sam.
Well,
what's up, Sam?
First and middle name.
SLJ?
SMJ.
I bet he would hate that. We're never going to call him that.
Yeah, no.
No.
Yeah, next time we're hanging out with the guy, we'll definitely have to ask.
You know what? I'll tell you one thing. She's only listed as being on one episode of S.H.I.E.L.D., and that is just disheartening. I wish IMDb would not lie to us this way.
Who's that?
Lucy Lawless.
Oh.
Yeah.
Izzy is not dead.
She's dead.
Not dead.
I'm calling this a fixation.
Is this podcast dead? Can we be done?
I think
done.
we're done.
All right. Well, that's it. Let's wrap it up. You can find past episodes of this and all of our podcasts at our website, which is www.southgatemediagroup.com. You can find, on the Nuff Said feed, you also find our brand new version of the all-new Marvel Comics Roundup, where Charlie and Phil go through the books of the week, which is a lot of fun to listen to. There's also Super Connectivity on there, which is supposed to be a blog, but we seem to not have a blog, but we do have a podcast for it now. We just started the True Believers blog, though, so you can check that out. And my posting, Phil did the first one. I'm 2 weeks late now with the second one, but I have written the second one, which is all about, I don't want to tell you. It's cool. It's an interesting blog, because it's kind of like just our personal take on Marvel stuff. And I really enjoyed it. So I don't know who's doing next. Are one of you guys doing the next one?
I think it's Alil's turn.
Alil, are you going to step up?
I guess.
Yeah,
I don't even know what I'm going to write.
I didn't know either. I just put pen to paper. So
I would say a 2,000-word essay on how it's not about the blood.
Yes. How about 2,000 words about how 2,000 words ridiculous about how Lucy Lawless is not coming back. And I'll tell you what I wrote about. I wrote about the books, the Stan Lee books from the 70s, the Son of Origins and Marvel Origins and Bring on the Bad Guys. I wrote about those. So I just kind of dipped back and I was like, what was kind of the starting point for me? And it was really that. So, take an approach like that a little. Have fun with it. Jack, you're up after a Lil. Fair warning.
I'm gonna write about the history of Catwoman.
I'm sure you will. Phil actually wrote to me and he said, "Is Jack gonna write about Scarlett Johansson?" Probably.
Maybe it should be about how Scarlett Johansson should be the next Catwoman.
Oh no, she needs to be Black Widow, and they need a Black Widow movie. Should we fall into that rabbit hole right now?
No.
Okay, you can
we're still wrapping it up. Actually,
we tweet from Nuff Said Pod at Nuff Said Pod. I tweet from at R Southgate. Alil, you tweet from.
I tweet from LOGEEKZ for the League of Geeks podcast.
Yep, and you're missing out if you're not listening to that show. It's a lot of fun. And that was sincere, actually. I know it didn't sound it, but it was. And Jack, what do you tweet from, and what do you do?
A little shack in my backyard. It's at Jay Wengroski.
I hear after he missed those last few free throws, he needed a place to stay. So he's in your backyard, huh?
Yeah. Oh, well.
Oh, well.
So it's at Jay Wengroski's Twitter, at BlacklistPod, at our new Bosch podcast.
Yeah, which is lighting it up, man.
Yeah. It got hits even before we got it on the air.
You got lots of listeners going on. So if you haven't watched Bosch yet, you need to get on it. It's on Amazon Prime, and the
all 12 episodes are on at once. It's basically they lay it all out there for you, so you can binge watch it from day one.
Yes, just like they're going to do with Daredevil. Have we mentioned that we're excited for Daredevil? Check out the Bosch podcast. That's really cool too. And what else? What haven't we talked about?
Spider-Man.
Let's see.
Spider-Man. You can support us on Patreon. If you go to our website, there's a link for Patreon. And right now we've got it set up so it's like you donate per episode, and we've got some perks on there. We're going to change that, so keep your eye on it. We're going to make it so you can do just like a flat-out monthly subscription. Boom. This supports all of the shows at once on Southgate Media Group. So you can either support individual shows for Nuff Said, or you can click on and support just the network and say, you know what, I do have a couple of shows I listen to. I don't really want to do per episode because, who knows, there could be 50 episodes that hit in a month. But I don't mind giving, $10 for the month or whatever to pay for this. And that really helps. So definitely check that out on our website. And check out our affiliates on there too. And I think that's all the business. Check out Alil's affiliates too at League of Geeks. Support us. That's what I'm saying if you enjoy it.
That's Geeks with a G.
And I say that's it. Are you guys done?
We're done.
I'm done. Oh, Jack, you done? Then let's wrap it up. Thanks for listening, everybody. Enough said.
Enough said.